Moving target's a perk I've been talking about a lot quite recently, but I wanted to give it its own video where I can really take a look at it, break it down, and quantify as much as I can about it. But unfortunately, honestly, there is a lot about this perk that's really difficult to quantify because I think it's a lot of a feel thing. However, despite that, I was able to find some things about moving target that completely changed my opinion and understanding of it for the better. And it doesn't really work the way that you think it might work. Moving target reads increased movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down sights. For anyone that isn't familiar with the term target acquisition, that is basically the way that Bungie describes aim assist in-game in Destiny 2. And no, that is not reticle friction, that is the size of the aim assist cone on a weapon. Yep, that's right, 50 seconds in and we're talking about the cones. But if you don't know what that is, please watch some of my previous videos so you have a good understanding on how this works, because this is essential at this point for pretty much every single one of my videos. So let's talk about that aim assist portion of the moving target perk to start. So based on looking at the aim assist cone of the old fashioned, the circular part of the reticle that is representative of the aim assist cone, with a stock old fashioned, again, that should have 70 aim assist, that's 65 base, plus 5 from the sight that it comes with inherently, we can see that my old fashioned that I have with moving target on it has a wider aim assist cone than the one without it. But here's the kicker. It's even while standing still. My character is not moving in this screenshot, nor was I moving at all while ADSing and tethered in the Garden of Salvation, or the Cones of Salvation. Garden of Cones? Don't know what to call it at this point. It's the place I go to see the information on the cones while we aim down sights. But seriously guys, moving target, we can see a difference in the accuracy cone while not moving. So it's just target. Yeah, it's just target acquisition. It just gives you more aim assist. And this fundamentally changes our understanding of how powerful a perk moving target is. And if you don't believe the strafe speed bonus is enough for you, this alone is just simply a blanket aim assist buff for your weapon. Now, the question is about this, how much of a buff is this? Taking our old fashioned with no moving target and equipping a targeting adjuster mod, which we know for a fact as plus 5 aim assist, gives us a total of 75 aim assist, and we can compare this to an old fashioned without a targeting adjuster mod and a helmet normal hand cannon targeting perk. We can confirm that a regular weapon targeting perk grants plus 5 aim assist, as they both have the exact same aim assist cone size. So that confirms for the people in my last video talking and asking about how much the targeting perks actually gave in terms of aim assist. But if we compare our old fashioned with moving target to our 75 aim assist old fashioned with a targeting adjuster, we can see a slight change in the aim assist cone, which would signify that moving target is in fact granting more than plus 5 aim assist, as it has a bigger aim assist cone than our 75 aim assist total old fashioned. We can then compare our old fashioned with moving target to our old fashioned without moving target with an enhanced hand cannon targeting mod that's of course believed to grant plus 10 aim assist. And there is no difference in the size of aim assist cone, so for all intents and purposes here, we can draw the conclusion that moving target grants plus 10 aim assist to the weapon regardless of moving or not, as a flat out bonus to the aim assist stat, which again I think is pretty crazy. A common question brought up in my last video, and is definitely a question that would be relevant here, is can you or is it possible to exceed 100 aim assist stat on a weapon, or could you add up perks that would total beyond 100 aim assist? And the answer is no, that is not possible. Because if we compare our moving target spare rations, which should have a predicted 100 aim assist, 92 base, plus 10 of moving target, that would be actually well over 100 at 102, hypothetically, but we're going to say it caps at 100. Compare that to a moving target spare with targeting adjuster and 2 times hand cannon targeting on our helmet, 1 enhanced, 1 normal, and there isn't a difference in the size of the accuracy cone, meaning yes, there is a cap of 100 aim assist. And this will be important for min-maxing our builds later on once we get through all of these informational kind of breakdowns and really focus then on how to min-max the best builds possible. This will come into play, and moving target being just a flat out, just straight up buff to aim assist is going to better allow us to min-max on loadouts and really just maximize weapon consistency in general. Now there's another dimension of moving target, of course. It's the moving part. The movement part. So let's talk about that. Reddit user Christic Knight is very well known for doing incredible pinpoint breakdowns of mobility and movement related perks, and in his ultimate breakdown of all movement abilities, which by the way I'm linking in the description, please check it out, he mentioned that aiming down sights in Destiny 2 reduces your movement speed by 25% with all weapons except sidearms, which only incur a 15% penalty for aiming down sights. The base strafe speed levels by each mobility tier are here on this chart from his breakdown. The top strafe speed is said to be 5.95 meters per second, so just about 6 meters per second, and as far as I know, Christic tested this with mouse and keyboard, and this was tested at a constant top speed of movement down the long Leviathan entrance. So multiplying 5.95 meters per second by 0.75 for our aim down sights movement penalty of 25%, this gives us roughly a 4.45 meters per second movement speed while aiming down sights. Christic mentions that moving target decreases the ADS movement speed penalty by about between 2.5 to 3.5%. This means that the movement speed with moving target would be about 4.28 meters per second, a seemingly small boost from the 4.45 meters per second ADS strafe speed. Although on paper this is a seemingly small bonus, in real game application I think this bonus feels far greater than its small number would account for, at least again in my opinion and experience. Players typically pop and move in and out of cover, which is a very small distance, but you can travel that small distance faster with this perk. And this small difference, as many other minuscule differences do in the game, make a big difference overall at the top level of play, where players react and make decisions very quickly. Either way though, in what case would you not want a faster strafe speed to be able to peak shot more effectively and more opportunity to damage your opponent faster and return to cover quicker as well, especially in a peer-to-peer first-person shooter of all things? The only open end that I can see in Christic Knight's test is that it doesn't take into consideration movement speed acceleration, the rate at which you can move from 0 to 100 top speed, and the rate at which you switch directions. Now, I tried to test this as best as I could. I tried to measure frames that I could see that didn't look like top speed all the way up to top speed, and the most conclusive things I found were for really mainly controller, where I noticed about 10 frames worth of delay from moving the control stick in an opposite direction to where my character was moving before the character actually even began remotely moving in that desired direction. However, that 10 frames that I noticed seemed to be about the same with and without moving target. I really wanted to include some other results from this, but overall it's just way too inconclusive and not solid enough evidence for me to say that moving target increases strafe speed acceleration. It also looks to me like there's a difference between strafe speed acceleration on M&K, how fast you reach top speed on M&K, versus controller. It seems a little slower on controller, which was a bit odd to me because I turned my dead zones and my control stick settings to instant and the most aggressive settings possible, meaning even before I'm hitting the edge of my control stick, it's already going to 100. It's already going full input, and it wasn't as instant as on mouse and keyboard, which means that in Destiny, the character movement speed is actually potentially more delayed on controller than it is on mouse and keyboard in terms of movement speed, which is odd. Either way, again, I would love for someone that knows how to test this more reliably to actually test it. Test movement speed acceleration compare it between controller and MNK and see if moving target really does affect that. I have my own results here. I don't feel good enough about publishing them simply because I don't feel like my test is done well enough, and as a result, I don't know if this should be taken objectively. I simply just don't know what the most reliable way to test movement speed acceleration would be rather than just top speed. What I can say though is, again, this looks like a small bonus, but I would recommend you try it out because like many other things in Destiny, it comes down to feel. You have to use it, you have to put yourself in an in-game scenario and feel it, and to me, moving target strafe speed bonus makes my strafe feel more responsive. But for you, if it doesn't feel that way, I guess the best thing to take away from this video is that, well, you're getting plus 10 aim assist whether you're moving or not. The other thing to mention about moving target is it's a good way to min-max on movement speed as well, because of two things. Firstly, it's your only way of quote-unquote exceeding 10 mobility. You're not really getting faster than 10 mobility, but you're removing part of the penalty, which in turn is making your strafe speed move faster than just 10 mobility. And you can also use this as a way to run a lower mobility level but still maintain a strafe speed bonus comparable to some higher tier mobility levels, which is great. Again, this perk is really good for min-maxing. Lastly, if you really want to be a speed demon, you can probably take the Peacekeepers on the Titan, which reduce the ADS penalty from 25% to only 9%, and maybe stack it with moving target if possible to get yourself hypothetically only a 6% movement penalty, which sounds pretty nice. So that might be a build I'd check out in the future, and maybe you can try it for yourself. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to give you on moving target. Try it out for yourself, see how it feels, and let me know what you think. If you want to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys. I stream very frequently, pretty much daily. I hope to see you there. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.